I hated spending money, absolutely hated it. I grew up scrutinizing every single bill, every single cost, every single 10-cent change to the dollar menu at McDonald's. I still remember when I was back in high school and McDoubles costed around $1, and I will never forget. And it turns out, in some ways, this was actually a really useful thing. And that's because by the time that I turned 26 years old, I was able to grow my net worth to just under $100,000, starting from zero in only 3 years. Now, I definitely know that that doesn't make me the richest person on YouTube by any stretch of the means, but it's still an accomplishment that I'm really proud of. And I think that I'm sure you know how hard it can be to really grind and work really hard to actually get your money up to raise that net worth. It's a lot of work. But something changed this year for me. I learned to love spending money. And in this video, I'm going to tell you how that change happened and why it was so important for me to continue to develop a better relationship with my money. So hopefully there'll be some really interesting takeaways that you can take and apply to your own life as well. So this change began to happen back in October of this year. So I was beginning to do, YouTube full time, and I was starting to actually rake in some real meaningful income. And prior to this, if you calculate it out, I was actually making basically like pennies for every hour that I put into YouTube up until this point. But now I actually started to make some real meaningful income. So I knew I wanted to have a plan for this new money. And this new money was shocking. It was incredible. It was confusing. I didn't know what to do with it at first. Should I save this money? Should I then invest it? Should I invest it back into the business? Or, what should I maybe spend it on? Should I buy overpriced McDoubles with it? Finally, I made up my mind. I knew I wanted to put most of it back into the business so that I could begin to really scale this YouTube channel. So one of the very first things that I bought was I replaced my old 2011 MacBook Pro that was still barely functioning, and that's what I edited all my old videos on. It was a terrible time. And then I decided to buy a new iMac, which has completely been so life-changing for me, and it's been just a revelation. So investing money back into the business was a really great decision, and that's what I was doing around that stage. But I knew I wanted to do something more with this new money I was making from YouTube. So fast forward to November of this year, and my girlfriend and I were sitting around my new computer and looking at something on my screen that would turn out to be the very thing that I purchased that helped me learn to actually love spending money in certain ways. And when I went to finally buy this thing, not only did I not feel the normally agony, soul-crushing agony that I normally feel when I spend money, but I actually felt some measure of joy. And so I had my mouse just hovering over the buy button, and I was preparing myself to click it so that I would finally, make this purchase and officially spend the money on it. So I was kind of mentally preparing myself, taking that deep breath first. And then I did it, and I was waiting for that sinking feeling to come, oh, I just spent a lot of money on this. But it didn't, actually. It didn't come. And what was there in its place instead was actually, a little bit of joy. I found myself feeling good. Maybe even great, in fact. So I quickly ran down my stairs to grab this thing, grab it on my front porch because I had ordered it with Snap Shipping. Oh, you're not familiar with Snap Shipping? You never heard of that before? Yeah, it's so strange. My girlfriend hadn't heard of it either.
What are you doing? You're just standing there?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for my present. I got it shipped with Snap Shipping.
What's Snap Shipping?
Never heard of Snap Shipping? Just check it out. It's so cool. And there you go.
That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't it the best?
Yeah. Well, have fun carrying up the stairs.
Hey, wait.
Snap Shipping. Come on, that's pretty good, eh? No? Yeah. Well, I never promised to be a comedian on here, but at least I'm trying to hopefully make a dry subject like personal finance a little bit more fun. Anyway, after the package had actually finally arrived, it was time to bring it up the infamous stairs that many of you will be familiar with. So we meet again, my arch nemesis. So the package had been secured, I carried it up the stairs, unboxed the whole thing, and now looking at it in the flesh actually has me so excited. I mean, this thing is so cool. I even took it out for a spin myself, and oh, it was really cool to use. But reluctantly, I had to finally then put it back into the package because this thing wasn't for me. It was for somebody else. By now, it was December, and Justine and I were getting ready to escape the city to go and spend the Christmas holidays with my family. But first, before we, loaded up the car with all of our packages and whatnot, it was time to give the old Jag a good wash.
And roll up your window. Thank you.
Look at her.
Imagine we still had our sunroof open.
I know. Right. Is it though? Was it like a bit open? Oh, I'm nervous. It's kind of hard to close. Oh! Chill. Relax. These are the jellyfish. Have you ever been at a car wash? Have you ever done this before?
I don't know, not really.
Well, we're brand new. And now
that?
here comes the air dryer.
The what?
It's an air dryer. It blow dries us. Try. I don't think a lot of people get their cars washed in the winter, but we swim against the current, you know what I'm saying?
It had been a while since I was in a car wash, okay? I kind of forgot how crazy they were. I normally don't own a car. So anyway, the next day we loaded up the car and we were set to leave.
Merry Christmas. That's that nice. Look at this. We got Santa's sleigh up in here. Look at all that.
Happy
Merry
holidays!
Christmas.
Santa's sleigh.
Santa's sleigh.
Finally, we arrived at my parents' house where we would be spending the Christmas holidays. And so we brought all of our gifts into the house and began sticking them under the Christmas tree. But we realized that this one particular gift, the very special one that I'm talking about, was huge. It really stuck out and would draw a lot of attention, but I wanted it to be a big surprise, so we basically had to rearrange all the gifts under the Christmas tree so that we could kind of tuck it in the back, make it a little bit more inconspicuous. Now, it was at this point, seeing this thing under the Christmas tree that I had bought and that I knew was gonna have a lot of impact, that I began to feel even more good about buying this thing. I was feeling so excited. Like, normally I feel really excited about Christmas morning because, you get stuff. But now I feel like I can actually really give. Like I'm in a position to be able to give more, which felt great. I was so excited for the person to open this present on Christmas morning. And that person was going to be my dad.
This is from everyone. Is it like a tabletop hockey game or something? Good dad. Is it a gun case?
Yeah, because I bought
It's a little short.
There you go.
Guys did it.
Come on! Is it a real fender? What?
Tears are coming.
That's ridiculous. Wow. Is that like a real Stratocaster?
Yeah.
Holy crap. That's a lot. Needs to be tuned. This was probably expensive.
Got off the black market.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's awesome.
Yep, this year, with the help of my mom, my brother, and Justine, we all pitched in together to get my dad a limited edition Fender American Standard Strat. And it's part of this series called Ivory and Ebony, and there's only 150 of each color made. So this thing's really cool, like the matching headstock and the body, and it's a beautiful guitar. He was pretty pumped.
Do a theme song for Couch Club.
Yeah. This is an old AC/DC song called "If You Want Blood, You Got It."
Okay.
If you want bucks, you got it.
So this was really important to me for a few reasons. My dad absolutely loves music. He's really passionate about it, and particularly he loves classic rock and metal. And he actually used to be in a band way back in the day, and he had a pretty cool guitar back then. He had a Flying V actually that he would play in this band, but he ended up having to sell his guitar in order to buy a car as he was growing up and kind of growing out of the band. You know, he wasn't going to become a rock star or anything. So he hasn't had a guitar since then. I think he either just hasn't had the time or he didn't want to sink money into buying a new one. And on top of that, he's approaching retirement age. So I thought this would be kind of the perfect thing for him to, you know, pick back up, start playing again so he could get excited about this new time he was going to have in his life that he could dedicate to more things that he's passionate about. And for me, this was really important as well because I feel like I owe so much to my parents. I'm so fortunate that they raised me to be the person that I am, and I know how much they sacrifice to always put a priority on my well-being and my happiness. So I've never really been in a good position to give back to them monetarily speaking, but I feel like now I kind of am getting more into that type of position, and that's something that I really want to do. I want to be able to get them nice things or provide them with nice experiences that they can have or that we can share together. And by doing that, I really realized something. I think that a lot of the time we get really caught up in, you know, trying to increase our savings rates and invest as much money as possible and grow our net worth as fast as possible that we can almost paint spending of any kind with a very negative brush. Like any dollar spent on anything, it's like, that was bad, I shouldn't have done it. But that begins to form a very unhealthy relationship with money because we're always going to be spending money on various things. We always associate spending money with negativity and saving money with positivity, but this, in my opinion at least, can lead to a relationship with money that's very self-absorbed. Now, I'm not saying that I recommend going out and just blowing all your money and being like, Yahoo! I love spending! And I'm also, you know, not saying that saving all your money makes you extremely selfish either. No, I guess what I'm trying to get at is I'm trying to ask, what's the point of all this? What's the point of growing your wealth? What's the point of becoming richer? I think maybe it could be to improve a life in some way, whether that's your life or someone else's, you know? Maybe that's money spent on self-development. Maybe that's money spent on books. Maybe it's money spent on buying stocks. Maybe it's money spent on, you know, giving to charities or buying expensive McDoubles. I mean, hey, I'm not here to judge. For me personally, I know a lot of what I want to do is give back, especially to the people who helped me be me. And when I saw my dad and Justine sitting together and trying to learn a song together on guitar, Justine brought her acoustic guitar up too.
Okay. Da, 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 and then. It's kind of similar.
Okay, so now we're.
Are you playing both strings?
Oh, maybe that's one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
I saw how much fun they were having and what type of experience that created for both of them, and I think I just realized that, you know what? There are ways of spending money that I could fall in love with.